Moro and the Chuluma, the pain, you can fail.
The money you have spent is more than even what?
Uber can laugh, maybe you can mobile long from the
communication of relationship and him. You asked for harmonization of the list before they pay, but it was not done. And then for us, we have come with those who were paid, whom we don't know. Am I correct? Yes. Lastly, we have discovered that in this room, there are some few who were paid something, and not what they asked, what they lost. Yeah. Then we have seen that the biggest number is not paid at all. So, as I conclude, let me say this. I'm going to conclude by giving you my numbers. And I am assuring you, we shall get the justice number in and come. We are going to go to Kampala. We were with the Acoli general on the first day. And they went away. We don't know why they went away. The first day, but that is theirs. So, can I invite you? RDC, can I invite the chair to say something briefly? RDC, then I will give my number and the district.
And we would hope for a feedback as soon as possible, so that this issue is disposed of once and for all. So I appeal to my people, be patient, have confidence in the team. These are your elected leaders. They are the ones who can directly work on this issue. So let's humble ourselves. We wait so that they do their due diligence. Whoever could have been doing wrong things in this issue, I appeal they should also be responsible for their deeds.
Because in this melodrama of compensation for animals lost, they've had the worst deal. First of all, the decisions in court were not in their favor. The value of animals, for instance, for Lango and Teso, where one cow was given for 1 million shillings. But in Acoli, it was given 600,000 shillings. And in addition to that, there is what we call general damages. The people of Lango and the people of Teso were given a flat rate of 5 million shillings across board. It didn't matter if you had 1 cow or 1,000 cows. But in the case of Acoli, they were given only 2 million shillings. Why this discrepancy? But most importantly, I know that you stated that the function of your committee is most primarily to deal with issues of moral and political accountability. I want to bring to your attention an important political statement that was made by the President and was committed in writing. In 2006, when there was this hue and cry about compensation, people were about to go to court and so on and so forth, the President directed the Office of the Attorney General to have the matters settled out of court. And in that statement, he said every person who was affected, anybody with a claim should be accommodated. For some reason, when the verification was done, that is the interministerial verification was done. The original list that was prepared by the committee of Acoli worded claimants and verified and sanctioned by all the relevant authorities, it rendered a number of about 23,000 people. But when the interministerial committee came, they reduced this to only 16,000. When the due diligence committee headed by retired Justice Galdino went, they found that, out of the 5,000 and so who were left out, they were unfairly done. So they rendered a number of about 21,266. Now, number one, the spirit and the spirit and letter of the president was that everybody who has claimed must be given an opportunity to be included. For the time being, the number of people we are now fighting for, the committee, because I don't want to talk like a lawyer. I know I'm representing them, but I want to talk like an ordinary person so that you know the unfairness with which the people of Acoli are being treated in this matter. His Lordship has already said, when General Salim Saleh gratuitously helped them to do another verification, the tone after a meeting with the Deputy Attorney General was that an harmonization exercise would be carried out between the compensation committee and the Attorney General's office, so that we find out what happened between these two lists. For some reason, the Attorney General refused to do this. We hope that you will take stock of this. Now, last, but of course by no means least, because I don't have the benefit of time. Peter Ivanovich, may I engage you, indulge you and your committee to know that the list that we are going to display, we shall work on them. But that may not help as much as what you can do with that list. And what do I mean? What I want you to do with that list, Honorable Chair and your committee, is that you must commit that list to a forensic audit. That list must be committed to a forensic audit so that those who have better eyes in financial matters, in accounting matters, may look critically at those lists and come out with whether that money was actually paid into the account. Did they leave the consolidated account? If they left the consolidated account, were they actually credited on the account as alleged at an appropriate time? My people will come to Parliament if this matter is not handled comprehensively with the Attorney General to present a case that their case should be handled in a certain way. The Attorney General must be forced to act within the law, but not as a state. Chris Pasayena Dongo. For those who care to add, I'm honorable. I shared the 9th Parliament with the chairman. My country
at hand. And I'm very, very happy today with you, the chairperson of the committee, for having come with the list of the beneficiary, of the claimant. What is lacking here with this war debt claimant is information. Nothing else. Is information. Our people do not have information on how far this payment is concerned. We don't have the information. You see, the office of the cow is tasked with the responsibility of only generating the list of claimants. But when it comes to payment, the actual payment now, we are now left out. We don't know. That's why it is very hard when the claimant asks or demand certain information from cow. It is very difficult for us to explain because we don't know how many people are paid, how much, and all that. It is a total mess. But I want to agree with my lordship that the government, under the leadership of His Excellency, is very committed in seeing that all the claimants is paid sincerely. That is why he instructed that no, the issue of court will consume a lot of time. Why can't we pull out this case from court and we handled it outside court as put by the lordship? That is an indication that the president wants our beneficiary to get compensated. But now, the people who are responsible there is question mark. The people who are responsible up there need to be tasked so that our people get compensated. That is my prayer. The problem is not here. The problem is how. Sincerely. It is how. Within the Attorney General chamber, around there. So, my chairperson, I would beg that you really need a lot to be done up there. Okay. Not
Gonzaga is my name, Vice Chairperson, Government Assurances and Implementation Committee, a committee dealing with the government promises. So we are in Iguru. We have been here for the last 3 days, from Soroti, Lira, Gulu, to look at those promises, compensations that were made to the people who lost their animals, livestock, during the insurgency of Lakwena and Konya. However, what we are discovering, the Attorney General office is showing us a number of people who are compensated, but on the ground they are not there. Meaning, this have been a fraud. Did you pay the genuine people? You've seen what has been the whole. Someone claims 70 cows as livestock, was given only 3. But the biggest number has never received anything. And indeed, where the Attorney General office's staff, they really want to left us alone. So, what we have done, we have agreed we are going to provide all the lists to go and display them in their sub-counties to prove whether those were the genuine people who were paid, all money was stolen on that side.
And here in Hulu, we have found more information that tells us that the compensation process for the people who lost their cattle during the war to Lakwena and Konya has got gaps. So I thank Parliament because the process to come and find out has been put in place, and we have been able to find out so much that a lot was not done right. The lists don't seem to be the same, so that is already under accountability. The money is not the same in the different districts. That is a problem. So I know that His Excellency was committed to see that the people of Acoli, Soroti, and Lira are compensated. That is why the process started. The problem is the implementers. Something is really wrong with the implementation of this process. And now from this meeting, we're going to have a tri-party meeting with the people from the committee that is leading everyone, from Parliament and from the Attorney General. And then with the forensic test, I know we're going to find out the problem, and I'm sure we shall push to make sure that people are compensated fairly.
Especially those who lost their animals. From the information we got from the office of the Attorney General, all these people were paid. By reaching on the ground, people have not been paid. There's a person who lost 57 cows and he was only paid 200,000. We are going back to Kampala and hold the office of the Attorney General accountable for what we are finding on the ground. From the information we have, these people are paid, but on the ground, they are not paid. Very few people are given very little.
First of all, my name is Christopher Ayena Odong. I am counsel for the Claimants, counsel for Acoli Warden Association. My take on the way the government is handling this is that there is a political will on the part of the president, which was exhibited way back in 2006, when he told the Attorney General in no uncertain terms that he should ensure that every claimant is involved so that the matter is sorted out once and for all, to avoid multiplicity of people going to court. But for one reason or the other, and I don't know why, the Attorney General's chamber has been very uncooperative with the claimants, and especially the associations, the administrative arrangements that the claimants themselves have made to champion their cause. For instance, when they went out for verification, they did not seriously engage the claimant. And even where they engaged them, when finally they wrote their resolutions and their report, they did not involve them in the writing of the report. So the report did not reflect the wishes of the claimant. That is number one. In the particular case of Acoli Warden Claimant Association, or claimants generally, I do not know why they are being discriminated about Acoli. In Lango and Teso, they have been given different rates. For instance, animals. Each head of cattle was rated at 1 million for Lango and Teso. But for Acoli, they gave them a rate of only 600. And then the general damages, which was awarded. In Lango and Teso, it was given, they were given 5 million shillings across the board. It didn't matter whether you had 1 cow, 20 cows, or 1,000 cows. But in the case of Acoli, they gave them a flat rate of only 2 million shillings. But I'm glad to say that when we last met the Deputy Attorney General and the Deputy Solicitor General, they said they already righted that, and Acoli is going to get the same rate as the others. But most importantly, and I must say this very emphatically, Attorney General is avoiding being taken into the ambit of the court where they can be supervised. What they are doing is being supervised. For instance, in the case of Acoli, they have refused to add the total number of people who are claimants in the case. And we've been fighting to say, but why not? If there is a case in court and we are claiming under the auspices of this case, why don't you allow everybody who has the same interest in the case to be joined as plaintiffs in the case? They are resisting. And as you heard, if you were very careful in the meeting, the position of the Attorney General is that this matter should be dealt with out of court. Out of court does not necessarily mean don't go to court, don't report back to court. Out of court means I have a case already in court, but there are areas we can agree on, areas or the whole case upon which we can agree on. We can ask court and say, let us go and negotiate out of court, and then we come and report the finding, the result of our negotiation in court. But for some reason, the Attorney General doesn't want it. The Attorney General seems to want the case actually to be handled without the control of the court. Why do they not want to be supervised by court, or this case to be governed within the ambit of the court? Because we trust court is the only organ that can supervise and superintend properly some of these little things that we are seeing. Inflated number of people being paid, ghost numbers being paid. But if it is left loose for the office of the Attorney General, who is going to supervise it? We want this case to actually be handled in court. Whether it is negotiated out of court, it must be taken and recorded in court as part of the negotiation. And then, finally, it is important to make sure that everything else now being done should end up with the money going to each claimant. We've had the experience where allegations are made, oh, we have already paid them, and they've actually not been. So the only thing that should be done is that the money should be paid to a central account, either to the lawyer, as normally happens in cases that are handled in court, or alternatively, an arrangement can be made and it is paid to an account of the executive members of the association. And these are the people who will now pay their members. I can assure you, if members of the executive of the association were to steal any claimant's money, it is easier for the claimant to find him out than if his money was stolen by somebody in the Attorney General's office or wherever it is. So it is our case that the money should not be left for the Attorney General to pay to each account. It has not worked. And the list that was exhibited here, which shows a very inflated number of people. And you saw the reaction of people in the crowd. When we were asked, we have a list of so many people. We want to ask you as a sample, in this hall, how many of you were paid? You saw the number of people who lived there. And when they finally asked, how many people have actually not gotten even a penny out of this payment? And you saw the forest of harm. That means that that mode of payment is unworkable. It's a conduit for corruption. It's a conduit for cheating the people who are helpless and they cannot follow it up.
Okay, based on the findings